I hate everything about you. Part 3. What stung more was not my mother's slap. It was the look of disbelief and disappointment in her eyes. I had always been her golden boy, never doing anything to disappoint her. I would have done anything for her to smile. If I had given in to him, she was wrong about him. He was not a bad person. I wish that she did not have so much hate in her heart for this family. Come here right now. We're going to have a talk as a family, she said as she pulled me out of my room. My sister and my dad were already in the living room, waiting for us. My sister gave me a look of pity, and my father just looked at me in a disappointed manner. I dreamed the next words that were coming out of my mother's mouth. Have we not loved you, supported you, and given you everything that you could ever desire? She said. Mom, I'm sorry. I did not mean to disappoint you, I said. Son, you have disappointed us twice in one day. Being caught with a man, an enemy of the family as well? How could you? My father said. Father, Doug is not so bad, Alyssa chimed in. Shut up. You know nothing. You're just a child, my father snapped. Alyssa gave me an apologetic look and looked down. I know that I have disappointed you, but Doug is not a bad person, I said. I knew as soon as I said those words that I should not have said them. Are you mad? After what his mother did? He is just like her, she said, shaking me. Mom, can you and her not fix things? Is this bad blood necessary? I asked her. I raised you. You do not tell me what to do or how to do it. There are our enemies for a reason. Remember that, she said. Why do we hate them so much? I asked her. Do not open your mother's wounds, my dear. Just understand that we are trying to do what is best for you. If you are gay, we are willing to accept you, but never your love for a Smith, my father said. He's not a bad person. Please try, I said. You don't fucking understand. If you love me, you will stay away from that boy, she said. He is not like his mother, I said. She sighed for a moment. She was silent. Her face softened, and she started speaking calmly. She used to be my best friend. We shared everything. When we both got married, we kept in touch. You were born a few months later than Doug, and so she helped me out when she could at the restaurant. Then one day there was a cooking competition. I had just made a winning recipe and I wanted to use it at the competition, but because you were still young, I couldn't. She entered and she won. But guess what? Her recipe was the exact same as mine. Now do you understand what I mean when I say that she is a snake? She asked. She had started sobbing, and for the first time ever, I saw my mother being so vulnerable. That was when I decided that I had to sacrifice whatever was blooming between me and Doug for my mother. Had I known the gravity of what his mother had done, I would have never started this with him. He was a good person, and he made me feel a way that no one has ever made me feel before. I wanted us to be able to be friends, maybe more. But was it worth it for me to risk my heart with him? When we had said that we would not involve our hearts. I could not afford to feel anything for him. What an awful situation I found myself in. My heart physically ached as I realized what I needed to do. Fine, Mom. We'll cut him off from my life, I said. You will need to quit the team too. I was never a fan of being co-captain with him anyways, my father said. I understand, I said. My sister looked at me with a very disappointed look on her face. Think about what you're doing. Are you giving up your love because of a grudge? She asked. What does it matter? I do not love him, I said. Are you trying to convince me or yourself? She asked me. Shut up, I shouted as I got up. I stormed into my room and kicked the door shut. I was very confused about how I felt. I was caught between my duty to my family and whatever I felt for Doug. I opened my phone and blocked him everywhere. Then I sent the coach my resignation. That was when I found out that Doug had also resigned from the position. So that means Roderick would be leading the team for the biggest game of the season. I did not care though. Nothing mattered anyways. I had lost him. The one who had made me feel so confused, yet alive. I had chosen my parents over him, but why did it feel so wrong? I was really going to never kiss him again? I felt a horrible sinking feeling in my stomach. I threw myself into my schoolwork as soon as I got home from school. I went to our family restaurant and helped them out. Everyone at school knew what had happened between us, so that made things worse. Roderick was now the team captain and he bragged about it every time that I saw him. The team members hated him, but they hated me and Doug even more for abandoning them at such a crucial stage. I hated myself too. I felt like I could never win at life. I had lost everything. My reputation, Doug, my team, and some friends. Was it all worth it? All because I wanted my mother to feel better. Nick was mad at me because I did not tell him what was going on between me and Doug. I could have sworn it was something romantic. But I was like, no way, you two hated each other, he said. Yeah, but it's over now, I said. No, why did you give up someone you love, he said. I don't love him, it was just a fling. Stop making it complicated. And he agreed with me that we wouldn't get our feelings involved. I have seen the way you look at each other though, the way in which you stop paying attention to everything when he's in the room, Nick said. It's not so easy, my friend. I have burnt my bridges with him, I said. But you can fix things with him. Your mother cannot make decisions for you for the rest of your life. You need to man up, he said. As much as I hated to admit it, he was right. I did love Doug. I had fallen for him, even though I promised myself I would not. Maybe you're right. I have to talk to him, I said. Good. Go and be with the person you love, he said as he brought me in for a hug. Nick was the most supportive friend I had. Him and Alyssa had managed to convince me that I could not give him up. To be honest, it had been hell without him. I wanted to be with him and tell him that I loved him. I wanted to be able to tell the whole world that he was mine. I didn't hate everything about him. I loved everything about him. I left Nick's house and I ran all the way to Doug's house. I knew that he was most likely at home and his parents were at some event that mine attended. I knocked at the door, out of breath from running the short distance to his house. He opened the door and I attacked him with a hug before he could even say a word. He stiffened a bit and gently pushed me away. So sorry for overwhelming you a bit. I just missed you, I said. He had a cold expression on his face though. We cannot be seen together, he said. Is that what you want or what your mother wants? I asked him. Doesn't matter. You cannot be mine anyways, he said. Why not? I'm here, am I not? I asked him. I know. I promised myself I would not fall, Aiden, he said. What is so bad about falling? I shrugged. Because it's so difficult to be in your presence right now. Maybe I want to take you away to our own little corner of the world, he said. And then he pulled me closer to him and he kissed me with all the strength he had. All the feelings that I had been trying to keep exploded in that kiss. I dug my fingers into him, afraid to let go. I wanted that stolen moment to last forever. His body on mine felt like pure fire, and I wanted more of him. I pulled away from him and I said the words I had been so afraid of for months now. I love you, Douglas. I love you too, Aiden, he whispered to me. He took my hand and led me upstairs. I knew what he wanted before he even said the words. I want to have you, all of you. And I wanted to give him all of me. He had my heart and now he would have my mind. We slowly undressed each other, taking our sweet time. He took my hand and brought it to his lips. You are mine, he said as he placed a small kiss on them. I smiled up at him. He had no idea how much of a hold he had over me. It is time. Do you trust me? I asked him. This was both our first times together with a guy. Felt a little scared, for I did not know what to expect, but I also felt happy that our bodies would finally join. With my life, he said. Then we made sweet, slow love. His body and mine fit together perfectly. He made me feel things that I had never felt before. He knew my body even more than I did, and left me feeling satisfied, yet hungry for more. And when we reached the highest point, he held on to me, and our voices cried out together. I slowly came down from the high, and I saw him looming at me. He was just smiling, not saying anything. What? I grinned. I'm just thinking of how we made such a great team, he said, as he featured to the mess that his room was in. You've just reminded me, the game is tomorrow and we will not be playing, I smiled tightly. About that, I have a suspicion, he said. What do you mean, I asked. That night we got caught, Roderick messaged me, asking me to give him more playtime. I said that I did not think that would be possible because he's not been playing well for the past few weeks. The very next morning, our picture was everywhere, he said. Wait, you think he's the one that exposed us? I asked. I think so. He did get our position when we quit the team, did he not? He said. A bloody rascal, I gritted my teeth. And what's worse is that the scouts are coming tomorrow. We're missing on such an important match, he groaned. Maybe if we spoke to the coach, we'd be able to play, I said. Okay, let us do that, he smiled, as he gave me a peck on my lips. The next day, I woke up feeling both excited and nervous. I hoped that our coach would let us play that night, and things would go well for me when I told my family about Doug and I. I woke up and went for a jog to clear my mind. Coach had told us to make sure that we were physically fit and he would try to arrange everything so that we would be able to dig into the strategies. Then I called Doug over to my house. He had just told him Mom about us and he was not very happy about it. Depending on how things went with mine, we would have to make some tough choices on that day. I called the family down so that we could talk. My mom was furious when she saw Doug and wanted to start some drama, but I was not going to listen to him today. Mom, I'm 18 and I love Doug. I do not care that our families hate the sight of each other. I will not carry this hate anymore, Mom, I said. You cannot be serious right now. You will listen to what I tell you to do, she said. Honey, maybe it wouldn't be so bad, my father said. Do not take his side. He had chosen a man over his entire family. Aiden, I am so disappointed in you, she said. I'm tired of you controlling me, Mom. I want to stand up on my own and be my own person, I said. What do you mean? She started to look scared. If you do not accept my decision to be with Doug, and you continue to refuse to fix things between you and his mom, then I cannot do this anymore, I said. Where will you go? You are nothing without me, she said. It's none of your business where I will go. We are going to be independent on our own. Both you and his mom are the same, so damn controlling, I said. I was tired of her. She had reduced my life to a grudge. All my life I had to make her and only her happy. I had left my love for her, my football career for her. I could not keep on giving up things for her. Fine, go and be independent. Let us see how long you will last. You will come crying back soon enough. I know you, she laughed. Well, we'll see, I said as I took Doug's hand and left with him. We got to the school just before the game began. Our teammates welcomed us back with open arms. I think they were just glad that they were not going to be run down by Roderick. Roderick looked very surprised to see us, and upset that we were going to play that night, but he did not focus too much on him. We were there to secure our futures, not to create more grudges. Everything that we had practiced for, all the time that we had spent, all the fighting came down to that moment. My sister cheered me on from the stands as we came down the field for the biggest match of our high school career. It was a tough game. We were well prepared and managed to hold our own against them, but they were known as the best. We had just 20 seconds on the clock, and then victory would either go to us or them. It felt like the longest 20 seconds of my life, but when it was over and all the fans swarmed to the field, I could not believe it. We were done with the game, and the winner was clear. Doug was my first of my teammates to lift me up. We cheered for what felt like the whole day. For the first time in 10 years, we were going to state championships. After the celebrations were out of the way, we were called to our coach's office. When we got there was an important looming man who was wearing a suit. We greeted him and sat down, facing him. Doug and Aiden, I assume? I have heard great things about you. You work well together and are both so talented, he said. Thank you very much, sir, I said. I have a proposal for you two. How would you like to be on my team at Rosewood Private College, he asked. For real? We both said in unison. Yes, I am offering full scholarships to the both of you, he said. Yes, the both of us shouted. That day was the best day of our lives. Our coach agreed to let us stay with him as we finished our high school. We did not win the championships, but we were glad to have gotten that far. We had everything ready for us. Our future looked bright, and I was glad to be with him on this new journey on life. I couldn't believe that I used to hate the sight of him, but now my heart beat faster every time I looked at him. We risked a lot to be together, not knowing if fate would pull through for us. We left our controlling mothers who could not let go of hate that they had in each other. But out of that hate, my love with Doug was born, and I will always love everything about him. Maybe we would last forever. Maybe we would not. But for now, he was all that I had, the family I chose. To be continued. Thanks for watching. Consider subscribing to become part of our Rainbow Force, and stay wholesome.